All right, let's have a look at what we have inside ICRS Diagnostic Master Sheet and how to use it. We have four tabs, and we start with the Readiness Assessment tab, which is the last one. This one essentially will show you your general score. Within the master sheet, everything is set to ready, so all answers, all questions in here are set to yes. But what you actually do when you conduct the assessment, you simply pick the answer that is true to the exact state of your project. So depending on the status of your project, it could be yes, partial, and no. It's very important to pick the accurate, not as to falsify the result. We have a set of questions alongside the categories of insurance and risk, permits and regulatory, collateral and security, contracts and commercial, feasibility and technical, financial, legal and corporate. So in total, we've got 44 questions related with the due diligence. So once you complete this, you basically create the register of the items for the due diligence for the lender. The next tab is focused on credit signals. This is because the lender does not only look at whether certain items are there, they actually dig way deeper and they want to know, for example, whether DSCR is calculated in the model or whether the total project cost is defined. So in here we've got categories revenue and repayment, capital structure, collateral and security, feasibility and technical, legal and regulatory, contracts and execution, and sponsor and counterparty. 48 questions in total. Once you complete each section, you will get the assessment in here. The score will change, and we have three options in terms of the status. If your score is between 80 and 100%, the status is going to be ready. If it's between 60 and 79%, the status is going to be conditional with the indication of gaps that need fixing. And if the status is less than 60%, it's going to be showing not ready. One important thing to note is that any critical gap, and we have three different types of gaps: critical gap, high priority gap, and structural weakness. So any critical gap will override the status to not ready. So even if you have just one critical gap, it will change from ready or conditional depending on the score that you will have. It will still change to not ready. Let's do this quickly and just pick a few items. Let's do this just. Okay, so we have picked a few. As you can see, the score has changed. The status is still ready. Now let's have a look in here. In here, we will see all the issues and severity and their credit impact. Now, we haven't got anything else, so let's complete a few items on this list. Okay, and let's see. The score is still ready, but it's changed, it dropped. And here we have a high priority gap in the revenue category. So the question was, does cash flow align with the debt service timing? The issue, if you answered no to this question, so that's this question, and we selected partial. So the issue it causes is that the cash flow is misaligned with the debt service, and that is the high priority gap within the revenue category, which may have the following credit impact: debt service risk elevated due to timing mismatch. So if you have the entire ICRS, what you can do next is to pick the remediation module on capital stack configuration, because this falls within this section. Now let's do a few more items just at random, and let's see how the score has changed. It's dropped, but it's still ready, so we're still within the range, and we still have just one gap. Maybe we can keep digging. And now this is what I wanted to show you. We have a critical gap. Is collateral asset identified? Obviously, we selected no, which means that there is no identifiable collateral, meaning the lender will not know what the collateral is. And this is the critical gap with the credit impact that there is no security for the lender in any downside scenario. So basically, that needs to be addressed. And you can do this by going to the collateral security register module. And now let's have a look at the score. And as you can see, we are still within the range because we are above 80%. But because we have this one critical gap, that tells us that that's something that really needs to be resolved before approaching the lenders. In essence, without the collateral, most lenders will not be able to proceed because it's the basis for their evaluation of the project. So this is how this works. Once you complete the entire section, the entire tab. Normally, if you know your project, if you know the status of the project, you can complete it within 5 to 10 minutes. But obviously, this will depend on how complex your project is, how many files are involved, and how many parties and discussions, etc., are involved. But generally, this is super helpful because that gives you an overview of the project status and where you need to focus your attention before you approach the lender. Or if you have already approached the lender and the project stalled or you haven't had any feedback, that usually means the project has been dropped if they haven't told you so directly. In this case, you will basically know this is the area, that's what I need to fix. And that's the aspect that actually caused the project to stall. Once you fix any issues with the project. So you can use obviously the remediation modules if you have the whole ICRS. If not, you can still do it. This is a super useful tool because it's just telling you what is the problem. It also will tell you that it could be capital stack or collateral or feasibility study or data room, or it could be your information memorandum. So it will give you the exact areas to remedy, to fix. Once you have done this, you can come back, you can complete the questions again, and you can repeat the assessment and see whether your project has changed the status and score from not ready to ready. And as you can see in this case, that's just a matter of one critical gap, which without the collateral usually is a biggie because some lenders will not proceed without the collateral. And we have all the information for tiers of the lenders inside the ICRS. So you will be able to identify it. But this is generally how you use the master sheet. I hope this is helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.